Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint, our deep dive into all things Gold IRA.
hmm
And today we're going to be focusing on Goldco, a company that specializes in precious metals IRAs. So think of this as your shortcut to figuring out if Goldco is the right fit for you and your retirement plans. And while you're listening, if you want a handy companion to help you navigate this world of gold IRAs, don't forget to grab our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's packed with tips to help you choose the right company for your needs. Now, to kick things off, what exactly is Goldco and what makes them stand out in the precious metals IRA world?
Well, one of the things that immediately jumps out about Goldco is their real focus on precious metals IRAs. They're not trying to be everything to everyone. They've really kind of honed in on this niche and built a reputation around it.
Yeah, and speaking of reputation, that A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau definitely caught my eye too. What does that signal to potential investors? Like, what does that tell us about Goldco from a consumer perspective?
The BBB rating is really a significant indicator of a company's trustworthiness and reliability. It means they've met these strict standards for ethical business practices, customer service, and transparency. An A-plus rating is really the highest you can get, signifying this high level of confidence that they'll do right by their clients.
So for folks who might be a little hesitant about venturing into the world of precious metals, that A-plus rating can be some serious reassurance. It's like a stamp of approval from a trusted source, especially in an industry that can feel, a little opaque sometimes. So they've got the focus, they've got the reputation. But what about the offerings? What can you actually DO with Goldco when it comes to precious metals and retirement savings?
Well, their bread and butter is the precious metals IRA. It's basically like a traditional IRA, but instead of holding stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, you're holding physical gold and silver, platinum, or palladium. This can be especially appealing for those looking to hedge against inflation and diversify their portfolio beyond those traditional paper assets.
Okay, so for someone listening who's maybe not super familiar with IRAs in general, could you break down what makes a precious metals IRA unique and potentially beneficial, especially for retirement planning?
Sure. A precious metals IRA, it offers the same tax advantages as a traditional IRA. Your investments grow tax deferred, and you only pay taxes when you withdraw the funds in retirement. But what sets it apart is that you're investing in these tangible assets, precious metals, which historically have held their value even during times of economic uncertainty.
And that peace of mind can be invaluable, especially as you're approaching retirement. It's not just about the potential for growth, but also about safeguarding your savings. Now, you mentioned they offer gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Are there any particular advantages or considerations when choosing between those different metals?
Absolutely. Gold is often seen as the classic safe haven asset, known for its stability and its ability to hold its value over these long periods. Silver, on the other hand, is a little bit more volatile, but it can offer higher growth potential. And platinum and palladium are more industrial metals, so their prices are often tied to economic activity. It's all about working with a knowledgeable advisor who can help you determine the right mix of metals for your specific goals and risk tolerance.
And that's where a company like Goldco, with that specialized expertise, can really come in handy. So we've got the Precious Metals IRA, which seems like a great option for people who are really committed to diversifying with precious metals for the long haul. But what about those who are maybe just dipping their toes in the water? Are there other ways to invest with Goldco?
Definitely. Goldco also offers the option to purchase gold and silver coins and bars directly outside of an IRA structure. This can be a good choice for people who want to own those physical precious metals, but don't want to tie them to their retirement savings.
So you get the tangible asset, the satisfaction of holding that gold coin in your hand, but it's a separate investment strategy. And speaking of getting started, is there a minimum investment required to work with Goldco, either for an IRA or for direct purchases?
Yes, there are minimum investment requirements. They vary depending on the type of account you're opening and the specific metals you're purchasing. It's best to check their website or give them a call to get the most up-to-date information.
Makes sense. And while we're on the topic of practicalities, let's talk about fees. We know they have that A-plus rating from the BBB, which speaks to their transparency. But what are the specific fees involved with opening an account with Goldco?
Transparency is a big deal with Goldco, and they're very upfront about their fee structure. You'll have your initial setup fee, which is pretty standard in the industry, and then there are storage fees to consider. Since you need a secure, insured location to store your precious metals, these fees typically vary depending on the size and the value of your holdings.
All right, you can't just stash those gold bars under the mattress. And I imagine Goldco helps facilitate that storage process, connecting you with reputable facilities.
They do. They partner with high security depositories that meet all industry standards for safety and security.
Good to know. So we've got setup fees, storage fees. What else should people be aware of?
And finally, you'll have transaction fees. When you buy or sell precious metals, which are usually a percentage of the transaction value, these are also pretty standard across the industry. Goldco provides a clear breakdown of all their fees up front so you can make an informed decision without any surprises down the road.
That transparency is really key, especially when you're dealing with something as important as your retirement savings. So we've covered the basics of what Goldco offers and how they operate, but let's dig a little deeper into the WHY. Why might someone choose to invest in a precious metals IRA? And what are some of the specific benefits Goldco brings to the table?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. Investing in a precious metals IRA, particularly with a company like Goldco, can be appealing for a few reasons. First and foremost, it's about diversification.
Diversification. We hear that word a lot in the financial world. But what does it actually mean in the context of retirement planning?
It means not putting all your eggs in one basket. Traditional retirement accounts often rely heavily on stocks and bonds, which can be vulnerable to market swings and economic downturns. By adding precious metals to the mix, you're spreading the risk and creating a more balanced portfolio that can weather those storms more effectively.
So you're adding a layer of stability, something that's historically held its value even when the market gets shaky.
Exactly. And that ties into the second big reason people choose precious metals IRAs: hedging against inflation.
Inflation. That's a big one these days, isn't it?
It is. It can really erode the purchasing power of your savings over time. But gold and silver have this long history of retaining their value, even increasing in value during inflationary periods. So a precious metals IRA can act as a built-in inflation hedge, potentially protecting your nest egg from those eroding effects of rising prices.
So you're not just keeping pace with inflation, you're potentially staying ahead of the curve.
Precisely. And then there's the psychological aspect. For a lot of people, holding physical gold and silver, it provides a sense of security and tangible ownership that you don't get with stocks or bonds. It's a real asset. You can hold it in your hand, something that's been a store of value for centuries.
Yeah, I can see the appeal of that. It's like a little piece of history and financial stability all rolled into one. Now, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed with all this information about gold IRAs and precious metals, remember to head over to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive for our free checklist. It will help you break down the decision-making process and choose the right company for your needs.
It's a great resource to help you organize your thoughts and make an informed decision.
Absolutely. So we've talked about diversification, inflation hedging, the psychological comfort of owning precious metals. But let's get specific to Goldco. What sets them apart from other companies in this space? Why might someone choose Goldco over another provider?
Well, we've already touched on their A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, which is a big one. It speaks to their commitment to ethical practices and customer satisfaction. But beyond that, Goldco really stands out for their personalized approach and their dedication to customer service.
Okay, so it's not just about the transactions. It's about building relationships and guiding people through the process.
Exactly. They have a team of experienced professionals who are passionate about precious metals and dedicated to helping their clients achieve their financial goals. They take the time to understand your individual needs, answer your questions, and provide tailored advice.
It's like having a trusted guide in a world that can sometimes feel like the Wild West of investing.
That's a great way to put it. And their commitment to education is another key differentiator.
Education, how so?
They understand that investing in precious metals can be a new and sometimes daunting concept. So they really go above and beyond to provide resources and educational materials to help their clients make those informed decisions.
So they're not just trying to sell you something. They're empowering you to understand the ins and outs of precious metals investing.
Precisely. They want you to feel confident and comfortable with your choices. And that commitment to education really shines through in their approach.
We'll delve deeper into this after a quick break. Stay tuned for more on Goldco and what they offer.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about what sets Goldco apart, and I think their commitment to educating their clients really speaks to their long-term vision.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about making a quick sale. It seems like they genuinely want people to understand this world. It's like they're saying, look, we believe in precious metals, and we want you to understand them too, so you can make the best choice for your future.
Exactly. They want to empower people to take control of their financial destiny, and that starts with knowledge.
And speaking of knowledge, let's go back to those different types of precious metals for a moment. We talked about gold and silver, but you also mentioned platinum and palladium. Those aren't as commonly discussed when it comes to IRAs. What's the story with those two?
Platinum and palladium are interesting because they're often considered more industrial metals than pure investment assets. So their prices tend to be influenced by factors like supply and demand in the automotive and technology industries. But they can also serve as a hedge against inflation and add diversification to a portfolio similar to gold and silver.
So it's like adding another layer of complexity
Yeah.
and potentially another layer of protection to your portfolio.
Exactly. But because they're not as widely traded as gold and silver, they can be a bit less liquid, meaning it might take a little longer to sell them if you need to access your funds quickly. It's something to keep in mind when considering the overall liquidity of your portfolio.
So it's all about weighing those trade-offs, potential for higher growth versus potential for lower liquidity.
Right, and that's where a conversation with a knowledgeable advisor like the ones at Goldco can be really invaluable. They can help you assess your risk tolerance, your investment goals, and your time horizon to determine if platinum or palladium makes sense for your portfolio.
It seems like that personal touch, that willingness to really sit down and understand your unique situation is a recurring theme with Goldco.
It is. They've built a reputation around providing that personalized guidance, which can be especially important for those who are new to precious metals investing or feeling uncertain about the best way to approach it.
It's like having a financial Sherpa guiding you through the sometimes rocky terrain of retirement planning.
I like that analogy.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's often a major concern for folks considering a gold IRA storage. We touched on it earlier, but can you elaborate on the storage options Goldco provides and the importance of choosing a secure and reputable depository?
Absolutely. Storing precious metals properly is crucial for protecting your investment. Goldco partners with several highly reputable depositories across the country that meet strict industry standards for security and insurance. These depositories use state-of-the-art technology, including multiple layers of security surveillance systems and stringent access protocols.
So we're talking Fort Knox level security for your gold and silver.
Pretty much, you can rest assured that your precious metals are safe and sound. And one of the nice things about Goldco is they offer that flexibility in choosing a depository. You can select a location that's geographically convenient for you or one that specializes in specific types of metals.
That level of choice and control is something a lot of people really appreciate, especially when it comes to something as valuable as their retirement savings.
Exactly, and they work with you every step of the way, making sure the storage process is smooth and seamless.
So you don't have to worry about transporting those gold bars yourself
Uh,
or figuring out how to build a vault in your basement.
Not at all. Goldco takes care of all the logistics, ensuring your precious metals are safely and securely transported and stored.
Speaking of taking care of things, let's circle back to that A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. We've mentioned it a few times, but it really is a testament to their commitment to transparency and customer satisfaction. What specifically does that rating tell us about their track record?
The BBB rating takes into account several factors, including the company's history of complaints, their responsiveness to customer issues, and their transparency in business practices. An A-plus rating means Goldco has consistently met high standards in all those areas.
It's like having a neutral third party saying, hey, this company's legitimate, they care about their customers, and they've got a proven track record of doing things the right way.
Exactly. And that can be incredibly reassuring, especially for those who are new to investing in precious metals and might feel overwhelmed by the choices available.
It's like having a seal of approval that says you can trust this company with your hard-earned savings.
Precisely, and beyond the BBB rating. Goldco has also received accolades from other reputable organizations like Inc. magazine and the American Business Awards. These awards recognize their rapid growth, their commitment to innovation, and their dedication to providing exceptional customer service.
So it's not just one organization singing their praises. It's a chorus of voices from different sectors recognizing their excellence.
That's right. And these accolades, combined with their consistently positive customer reviews on platforms like Trustpilot, really paint a compelling picture of a company that's truly dedicated to serving its clients well.
You know, for someone who's maybe a little hesitant about venturing into the world of precious metals, hearing about these endorsements and recognitions can be a real game changer. It's like having a trusted friend vouch for them.
It really can make a difference, especially when you're dealing with something as important as your financial future.
Right. You want to know that you're placing your trust in a company that's earned its stripes. It's not just going to disappear overnight or leave you high and dry.
Absolutely. And Goldco's track record speaks for itself. They've been in business for over a decade. They've helped countless individuals diversify their retirement savings with precious metals, and they've built a reputation for integrity and customer satisfaction.
That's a solid foundation to build on.
Hmm.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to remind our listeners that if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all the information we've covered, don't worry. We've got a fantastic resource for you. Our free checklist available at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive.
It's a great tool to help you organize your thoughts, assess your needs, and make an informed decision about whether a gold IRA is right for you.
Exactly. It breaks down the key factors to consider, the questions to ask, and the steps to take to get started. It's like having a roadmap for navigating the world of precious metals investing.
And it can be incredibly helpful in clarifying your options and empowering you to make a choice that aligns with your financial goals.
All right, we'll be right back to explore the potential risks and rewards of investing with Goldco. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into Goldco. We've covered a lot of ground, from their specialized focus on precious metals IRAs to their commitment to customer education and transparency. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on something that's always important to consider when making any investment decision: risk. Every investment comes with its own set of risks, and precious metals are no exception.
That's a great point. It's important to remember that no investment is completely risk-free, and precious metals can be volatile. Their prices can fluctuate based on a variety of factors, including global economic conditions, supply and demand dynamics, even investor sentiment.
So while we've talked about gold and silver being seen as safe haven assets, they're not immune to market forces.
Right, there's no guarantee that their prices will always go up. In fact, they can experience periods of decline, just like any other asset.
That makes sense. So for someone considering a precious metals IRA, what are some of the key risks they should be aware of?
Well, as we mentioned, market volatility is a big one. The prices of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, they can fluctuate significantly, and there's no way to predict with certainty which direction they'll move.
So it's not like a savings account where your principal is guaranteed.
Exactly. There's always the potential for loss, just as there is with any investment. Another risk to consider is liquidity. While precious metals are generally considered liquid assets, meaning they can be bought and sold relatively easily, there can be times when it takes longer to find a buyer or a seller, especially for less common metals like platinum and palladium.
So if you need to access your funds quickly, there's no guarantee you'll be able to sell your precious metals at the price you want or within the time frame you need.
Right. It's important to have a long-term perspective when investing in precious metals and to consider their role within your overall portfolio diversification strategy.
And speaking of diversification, isn't that one of the main reasons people invest in precious metals in the first place? To spread the risk and not have all their eggs in one basket, so to speak?
It is, and that's an important point to emphasize. A precious metals IRA should be seen as part of a broader, diversified portfolio, not a standalone investment. It can complement those traditional investments like stocks and bonds, potentially providing a hedge against inflation and market volatility.
So it's not an either-or proposition. It's about finding the right balance for your individual circumstances and risk tolerance.
Exactly. And that's where working with a knowledgeable financial advisor can be incredibly helpful. They can help you assess your overall financial situation, determine your risk tolerance, and create a portfolio that aligns with your goals and your time horizon.
It's like having a personal trainer for your finances, helping you get in shape for a secure retirement. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into Goldco, I want to circle back to something we've touched on throughout this conversation: their commitment to transparency. It's evident in their A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, their upfront approach to fees, and their dedication to customer education.
Transparency is absolutely essential, especially when it comes to something as important as your retirement savings. And Goldco really goes above and beyond in this area. They want their clients to feel informed and empowered, to understand not only the potential benefits, but also the potential risks of investing in precious metals.
It's like they're saying, we're not trying to hide anything. We want you to make an informed decision, even if it means choosing to work with a different company.
That's right. They're confident in their offerings and their approach, but they also respect their clients' right to make the best choice for their own individual circumstances.
That's a level of integrity that's not always easy to find in the financial world.
It's refreshing, for sure, and it's something that sets Goldco apart from many other companies in this space.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listeners who might be considering a precious metals IRA with Goldco?
Well, I think the first takeaway is that Goldco is a reputable company with a strong track record of customer satisfaction. They have a singular focus on precious metals IRAs. They offer a range of investment options, and they're committed to transparency and customer education.
And they have that A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, which speaks volumes about their commitment to ethical business practices.
Absolutely. Second, investing in a precious metals IRA can be a valuable diversification strategy, potentially providing a hedge against inflation and market volatility.
But it's important to remember that no investment is without risk, and precious metals can fluctuate in value.
Right. It's crucial to do your research, understand the potential risks and rewards, and consider your own individual circumstances and financial goals before making any investment decisions.
And to that point, I want to remind our listeners that we've created a free checklist to help you navigate the world of gold IRAs and choose the right company for your needs.
It's a great resource to help you organize your thoughts, assess your options, and make an informed decision.
You can download it at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's packed with helpful tips, key questions to ask, and steps to take to get started on your gold IRA journey.
It's like having a personal guide to help you navigate this exciting but sometimes complex world.
Exactly. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Goldco. We hope you found it informative and insightful.
We encourage you to keep learning, keep exploring, and keep striving for a secure and fulfilling retirement.
And remember, the most important investment you can make is in your own knowledge and understanding. Thanks for listening.